We are at the halfway point in this series, and this one is a doozy. This one is up there a little bit too much, kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I'm going to be discussing the 1975 movie Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom. The movie is directed by Pier Paolo Pasolini. Pasolini took some inspiration from the Marquis de Sade's writing of the 120 Days of Sodom. He also was a controversial figure on his own. There is also some inspiration from Dante's Divine Comedy. This movie was banned in England, New Zealand, Australia, and even his own home country of Italy. Why? The rape, the torture, the mutilation was just a little bit too much. What the male and female victims go through in this movie, holy fuck, it is a whole lot, especially in the end. So fun fact, I'm assuming you saw Funny Games. Yeah, so Michael Haneke, the director and writer of Funny Games, he named this movie as his 4th favorite movie of all time. Kind of would explain. So back to the movie. I saw this movie once and actually had to see it again just to do this discussion. It still kind of lives up to being something that's really fucking disgusting. The movie is known as one of the sickest films of all time. The other one, it's actually coming up in the season finale of the series. What is this movie about? Well, you have these 4 men who go to a castle in Marzabotto. This is after almost the end of Mussolini's reign, and when they get there, they're accompanied by storytellers, studs, and collaborators, all who are going to help them live out their next 120 days of basically Sodom. So, you know, when you watch a movie and then you wonder what the fuck is wrong with him, especially the director, because, you know, they came up with this, or even the writer, like, what the fuck is wrong with them? But then you gotta question your own self, because you're sitting there watching it. You're watching it from beginning to end, so you gotta wonder what the fuck is wrong with you. This is that movie. The movie is broken up into 4 segments. There's one segment that just proved to be a little bit too much for me. So, when I did watch it, I watched it straight through the first time. I could have fast forwarded. I'm a glutton for punishment. The first section is Anti-Inferno. This is when we're introduced into these sadistic men. We also see soldiers gathering up young guys who are going to become the studs and collaborators who are going to help with the rape and torture of the victims. The next circle is the Circle of Mania. And this is when the men and the studs and collaborators basically do all the raping and torturing of all their victims. I'm going to skip to the last one. I'm going to go back to the third one, and there's a really good reason why I'm going back to the third one, because that's leading to why you're watching this. The Circle of Blood, which is the last circle, is where you get all the mutilation and the torture. I'm not going to talk about all that. You can watch this movie on your own and see exactly what's pretty f***ed up at the end. I'm going to get to what's f***ed up. Well, it's time to get to why you are here. And this is the shit that me up. I'm gonna need a shot for this one just to get the taste out of my mouth with what I'm going to be talking about. The third segment is the Circle of Shit. Yes, shit. With what they do with shit in this movie, completely me all up. Signora Maggi here starts to tell her story. It's of coprophilia. What is that? That's the sexual arousal in shit. That is what her story is, and that's what she starts talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about? A Cleveland steamer? A dirty Sanchez? Yeah, that's basically what these guys are into. Anyways, she is telling the story of a client who ate her shit. While she's telling the story, the Duke is getting turned on by one of the girls who's crying. He then has the studs and collaborators rip her clothes off, and then he proceeds to take a shit, and then gets a spoon and has her eat it. Like you actually see her fucking eat it. Like, ew. No pun intended, but the shit's not even done. So later on, there's a formal dinner after a wedding, and the servants come out with this big platter. Once they take the top off, guess what's for dinner? Shit. Literally shit. So they're all served shit on their plates, and they sit there and start eating it. Yeah, so as Senora Maggi is talking about how this is a delicacy, I am not even gonna lie. I threw up in my mouth the first time I watched this. I'm not gonna, like, they're sitting there and they're spooning this shit up and you're seeing it. I threw up in my mouth, but I swallowed it and continued on with the movie, because that's what a horror fan does. But yeah, this movie may make you dry heave or even fucking throw up. So when I rewatched this last night, I've been trying to wipe the images out of my brain when I first saw this, that when we got to these scenes, I did a lot of the, or to kind of turned away, because honestly, I didn't need a refresher. I had to watch The Little Mermaid, just so that way when I went to bed, I was listening to Ariel in my head and not watching people eat shit. Who the hell puts this in a movie? Like literally sitting there and eating shit. So that's what f***ed me up. I mean, if you've seen this movie, let me know in the comments section if you kind of had the same takeaway I did on that, because again, it's probably one of the most disgusting thing I have ever seen. I've seen a lot of horror movies, but watching people eat shit is up there as really f***ed up.
That is one big pile of shit.
I am not gonna tell you what else happened in this movie. I mean, watch the movie for yourself. I recommend any horror fan, basically, you should watch at least once, because for me, all horror fans watch everything that everybody says do not watch. And if you told me don't watch it, or you hear that it's one of the most controversial bands, yeah, I'm all in. So join me next week where I'm going to discuss with you guys a movie that affected a lot of my phobias. If I'm gonna butcher some of these words, this movie affected my arachnophobia, aphidophobia, and ranidophobia. And it's the 1972, year I was born, movie Frogs. It's a movie that deals with things that I am fucking scared of, which is snakes, spiders, and frogs. I am deathly afraid of frogs. With that, I am out. If you have not done so and subscribed, make sure to subscribe and follow for updates. Until then, I'll see you next week for the movies that fucked me up. Until then, ta-ta for now.